Hey, welcome to SportsBeat Live, the Stars Chiefs post-game show. It's the post-game show when we do it on Sunday. When we do it on Thursday or Friday, it's the Stars pregame show for the Chiefs. Hey, but we just got finished watching the Chiefs defeat the New York Jets 35-9, and not an unexpected outcome, not an unexpected score. Let's talk about it with the panel. And we've got Sam McDowell here tonight. Hey, Sam.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, Vahe Gregorian is back in the office after spending the day at the Arrowhead Stadium press box. Good hustle, Vahe.
Yep, just trying to pick them up and put them down. Glad to be here between two Sams.
And the bottom half of the Sam sandwich is Sam Mellinger. What's up, Sam?
Honored to be here.
And listen, nobody works harder to be on this program than Herbie Teope. And once again, he's out there battling. We think we're going to get him from his car at some point. And it's not a show without Herbie. So, Herbie, if you're out there, you can hear it.
It's very much a show with Herbie trying to get into the show.
Yes, that's right. So, hey, guys, this show is about us talking Chiefs, and it's about you all asking us questions and delivering your comments about the Chiefs. So many of you have weighed in already, and we will get to as many of them as we can. I wanted to start today talking to Sam McDowell because I know what he wrote about, and that's Patrick Mahomes and the offense, and that was, I think, the obvious storyline of the game, Sam. I think the Chiefs played well all over the place today. But what stands out and what'll be the headline nationally from this game? 5 touchdown passes and a passer rating that was the second best in Patrick Mahomes' career. What'd you end up writing about?
Well, like you said, I guess the obvious. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had the best game that he's had this season, and it was vintage Patrick Mahomes. We've talked so much about the fact that this year has been about him adjusting mentally to the way defenses are playing him, to the way his own defense is playing and not taking the risks. And the risks this year have been downfield because of the way teams are defending him. This year, today, I mean, everything was open. And what really stood out to me, on one play specifically, the first touchdown to Tyreek Hill, literally everything was open. But really stood out to me is in the postgame when Mahomes said that now teams know they have more than one way to beat you. And I was like, I think we knew about this one. But the way the Jets played him was almost as if they didn't know about this one, because everybody in postgame talked about the fact that everyone wanted to take away the run today. And I don't know why, if you're defending Patrick Mahomes, your objective is to take away the run.
Well, and some of the, Mahomes' decision making today was involved the RPOs, right? The run pass option, and I don't know how many. Maybe we'll get later this week what the breakdown was, but the guy was, what was he? Was it 31 of 42? I wrote it down here somewhere.
Yeah, for 416 and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, with a 144.4 passer rating. The yards were the 4th best of his career. The touchdowns, the 5 touchdowns, tied for the second most. He's had 2 games of 6. So
I'm just imagining Greg Williams after the game just going back in the locker room, like, who was that guy? Like, I didn't see that coming.
And we stopped the run. Le'Veon Bell didn't beat us, so.
Game.
Excellent game, but he was on from the get-go as well. It's one thing to pile up the big numbers. Part of that is I think that the strength of the Jets defense is up front, and they were missing Bradley McDougald. They were missing some guys, and it's the Jets. So the opportunity for success was there, and Patrick Mahomes is a good enough player to take full advantage of the success. Melly, I think your line of questioning after the game was, I think, what everybody had on their mind. What were the Chiefs going to be, prepared to take this game seriously and take the Jets seriously? And I think they showed from the outset that they were.
Yeah, and I think that Andy Reid and the coaches have wondered if the Chiefs are going to take these kinds of games seriously. I mean, he can say, and he did today in his press conference, I think even to my question about, like, I'm not worried about complacency. That's not something I worry about with this group. But he keeps bringing it up, week after week after week. So it's on his mind, and it makes sense that it would be. It absolutely does. And I think that, look, like, casual Chiefs fans are probably not going to care that much about the Chiefs-Jets, right? But I think that those of us that follow the team pretty closely know that these games matter, right? Like, these games, like, you only get so many opportunities to practice. You only get so many opportunities to play, to improve, like, all those things. And, you can't waste them. And that's a thing that Chiefs teams in the past have done, play down to their competition. Tyrann Mathieu talked about that specifically. So it's just, I think that's an important thing. They kept him out of the end zone. The last 3 weeks, they've given up an average of 14 points, and they've scored 7 and set up 17 on defense. I mean, those are pretty good indicators of how seriously this team's taking it.
And if there were any doubt, defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo showed him a film Saturday night, showed the defensive players a film Saturday night of Kobe Bryant, kind of an inspirational film about how Kobe managed to, stay motivated and get better every day. And Tyrann Mathieu talked about that in the post game. If this game had a moment, if it had a play that stood out, I don't know if you could call it a pivotal play or a game-changing play, but it was most certainly the most fun play. It'll be probably the most talked about play. It was Tommy Townsend's pass to Byron Pringle. Tommy Townsend, of course, is the punter, and the ball went 13 yards on, I think it was 4th and 4 from about midfield. And it was interesting because Trent Green on the broadcast said to be alert for a fake punt here. He called it, and the Chiefs executed it. So, Vahe, I think you dug deeper into that moment.
I think what the Chiefs apparently had seen on tape or film, whatever we call it these days, was that the Jets had a tendency to turn and run downfield without really accounting for defending the play, and the Chiefs availed themselves to that. Let me tell a little history of being an aggressive punter as a runner. I think he even got a couple penalties against Missouri for some tackling beyond the norms. So he's more than just the sort of conventional punter. It was kind of fun. He had a little fun with it after the game, and so did Patrick. I had not known, we don't get to go in the locker rooms this year, that his locker was next to Patrick. So he was kind of joking that he thought a little Patrick rubbed off on him. But I think it's been 6-7 years at least since he threw a pass in the game, and that would have been, the way he put it, was his freshman year in high school. And look, we're all trying to find our angles on games, right? So I sort of thought, you know what? It did change the game a bit. The Chiefs were still going to romp, right? But you kind of still have to, as they like to say, stack plays and kind of make it happen still. And I think the interesting part of this, and it's something we talked about in our podcast earlier this week when I think I was joking that they were going to open the game with Travis Kelce passing to Eric Fisher. Like, they're not going to resort to any trickery. They're just going to do this stuff. And I think it was interesting to see that they felt like they've got to seize the game, right? Even though it's the Jets, they got to take control and get this out of the way and take care of business. And to use Tyrann Mathieu's term from one of our questions, not stoop, right, down to that level and be them. So that was, in that sense, something that said, well, we're taking the opponent seriously. We got to get a hold of this.
Well, I'm glad to know that, Tommy Townsend went to Florida. I'm glad to know that the Mizzou Florida blood predates last night. And as for seizing the moment, and look, the Chiefs, got the kickoff. They put together, I think, their best opening game drive of the year, 85 yards, or it was 90 yards, right? Because of the Byron Pringle called for a face mask on the kickoff return. And so they go 90 yards. Mahomes 5 for 5 for 85 yards on the drive. But the Jets come down and get a field goal. Chiefs turn around and get a touchdown. Jets come back and get another field goal. And they've chewed up a lot of clock doing it. And I'm thinking this is exactly how the Jets need to play this game. with the exception of settling for field goals. They need to get the ball in the end zone. But after each team had 2 possessions, the Jets were are still within a score and had taken a lot of time off the clock. So the second Chiefs touchdown was set up by the Mahomes to Tyreek Hill first touchdown pass was the play after the Tommy Townsend fake punt. So I think that's a good point that they felt like it was important to seize the moment. And Andy Reid addressed that after the game, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I asked him just kind of, I didn't want to. Sam Mellinger was really funny. Each time, Sam, you asked a question about not to put down the Jets, but just kept trying to find a way to say talk about the play. And I kind of tried to. Try to be a little soft with Andy on that. Are you you might have won the game anyway, but he did respond to that. You can't leave points on the table, and you gotta go make things happen, basically. But really, it's too bad. I don't know if they can use that same play again now.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, Herbie Teope's in the house. What's up, Herbie?
What's going on, fellas?
Good to see you, man.
Looks like he's very much not in the house, actually.
We get chased out of the press box, and now I'm like looking around to see if anyone's going to chase me out of the parking lot.
Herbie, can you take your mask off when you're in the door?
Hey, you know what, though? I am going to follow the rules. I'm going to set the example. You got to wear a mask whenever you're on Arrowhead Stadium premises, so I'm still on Arrowhead, so the mask will stay on.
Hey, how about Andy going back to the shield today? I thought that was interesting.
I've really come to like that look of the windshield. I really do. He looks weird in Denver, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think when there's an Andy Reid bobblehead made, it needs to come with a shield.
Yeah.
All right, Herbie, what were your takeaways? We've talked a little bit about Mahomes, about taking the Jets seriously, and the Tommy Townsend play. What else you got for us?
Hey, the Chiefs won the game that they were supposed to win. No letdown whatsoever. Of course, I'm sitting up there in the press box, and it's 14-6, and I'm not having that good feeling yet. And I kept looking over at the guys. I'm like, man, I don't know. Then finally, after the halftime, you got the sense that they were finally going to put the game away. But they won the game they're supposed to win. The Jets had no business being in this game against the high-powered Chiefs. And so the biggest takeaway to me was, if you're a champion, you got to win these games. You can't leave any doubt whatsoever, and they left no doubt in anyone's mind that they are the defending Super Bowl champs.
Did you guys see the graphic that CBS had? I think it was in the fourth quarter about winning percentage of remaining opponents.
Yeah, that included the Jets, though.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Okay.
It said entering this week.
Gotcha. Okay, so still pretty interesting.
Now they flip to the toughest schedule in the NFL once the 0-7 Jets are out of the equation.
But it really is. They still they got Bucks, Saints, Raiders, but there's a lot of Falcons on there, and it is a pretty soft schedule with the exception of 2 games. And the Steelers obviously stayed undefeated today, and their schedule's pretty soft as well.
Right, and you mentioned the Steelers win over at Baltimore, which keeps them undefeated, drops Baltimore to a second loss, and the Tennessee Titans got a second loss today as well to the Bengals. So if there is if the season ended today, for writing that, the Steelers the 1 seed, the Chiefs would be the 2 seed. Brian Johnson asked, he got in early, he asked if McCole Hardman's okay. You know how we know McCole Hardman's okay? McCole Hardman came to the post-game interview, and that doesn't happen if a player is injured.
Even a little bit.
Even if it's a hangnail. So McCole Hardman is okay, but I thought the same thing. Went down, took a helmet to the upper leg, and I just thought maybe a pretty bad contusion there. But I don't know how much he played after that, but he's okay.
That was it.
If he played, okay.
What about Tyreek Hill after having to be carried off the field by Patrick Mahomes?
Did not speak to the media.
Right. Well, I like Patrick Mahomes' comment on going down the field after the first touchdown when he was asked if that was the idea to carry him off, carry him back to the sideline after the first touchdown, and Mahomes said no, it was to get him out of the stands.
Yeah. Mahomes has like a almost like a Ethiopian respect for rules because he was like, I don't know exactly, but I was just trying to get him out. I know it's not good.
Oh,
you know who didn't have a respect for rules today was Travis Kelce after his touchdown, and going for the Tony Gonzalez slam dunk over the goalpost cost the Chiefs 15, which was applied on the kickoff, and then the kickoff goes out of bounds. So the Jets are starting that final drive at midfield, but that possession ends with another big play by the Chiefs, and the reason that I gave the special teams an A today. A blocked field goal for the first time. I think it's the first block this year. But Armani Watts breaking through and getting the block. McCole Hardman scooped it up. I thought for a moment I thought he had a scoop and score there, but I think he said that he just couldn't get a good grip on the ball, and so that left the score 21-9 at halftime. And I was with Herbie. I kind of felt a little odd about the game. Just after a couple of possessions, but at halftime, I just thought, you know what, that's they're in good shape here.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought the Jets being down by a score was problematic. They're not really a dangerous team when within 8 or whatever it was. I thought that the Chiefs controlled the game from start to finish, regardless of the fact that the Jets were able to drive down and get some field goals. I just never thought it was a game that the Chiefs had to sweat. And it goes to Sam's point because the Chiefs have been talking about this year about how this isn't a team they have to worry about with complacency. These guys are veterans. They know better. But to what you said earlier, Blair, the fact that Steve Spagnuolo last week said every day in that week he mentioned complacency, and then this week he feels the need to show him the Kobe Bryant movie last night, it's obviously something they're concerned about. So whether they want to admit it or not, I think today, and it's probably what Sam wrote about, checks a box that this coaching staff felt like they needed to check.
Yeah, they've got the attention. I mean, it's a really unique thing that the Chiefs have right now is like this roster that is as talented as they are, and already accomplished as they are, and young. It's not a group that's holding on for another year, and they have got a great coaching staff, and not just that, but there's a very healthy, productive trust and sort of creativity that's just mutually there between both sides, and it's a really cool thing to be able to watch.
If I may, I think the reason why they were talking about complacency or the dangers of it, because you look at the 3-game stretch before they hit the bye week. You had the Broncos, you've got the Jets, you've got the Panthers coming up here before the bye. And before that, you had some powerhouses that they had to deal with. And I think the message that the coaching staff wanted to get through was, okay, you took care of business with these powerhouse teams. Don't get a letdown with these 3 games that we should win. So I think that's a good message to not get complacent because you took care of business with the Patriots, the Texans, and who else was in there? The Ravens.
Ravens, yeah.
You know who you are, but don't have a letdown against one of the 3 teams that you got before the bye. So I think that's good on their part to do that.
Peter Alden reminds us that the Chiefs starting running backs had 12 carries for 28 yards against the 20th rated run defense. What do you think is the biggest issue, and why is it Andrew Wiley?
Well done. Greg Williams, like we said, mission accomplished.
Yeah. The Jets just wanted to take away the Chiefs' strength. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Not a lot of love here for Andrew Wiley today. You know what? I'm just gonna have to check out the game film. And did you guys notice anything that
the interior of the line got beat?
The middle
got stuck. On that, I think it was a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 play. One of those plays where he got 4th and 1 where he got stuck. Wiley got pushed back into the line of scrimmage. Number one, and McDowell brought up a very good point. It was a slow developing play, but at the same time, you don't want to see your right guard 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So Bell never had a shot there.
I don't know about you guys, but maybe kind of throw it up to the group here. I thought Le'Veon Bell, even when he was in space, looked a little bit slow today, especially compared to maybe we saw a burst through a hole last week twice that I didn't think we saw today. And once he was in space on that screen pass, and he's known as a patient guy, a patient runner when the hole's not there. I get that. We didn't see the burst from Le'Veon Bell today, I didn't think.
One thing I did notice. Go ahead, Sam.
Well, one thing I did notice that 3rd and 4 play from last week still sticks out, where Mahomes took the sack, and where Jeff Schwartz pointed out that Bell could have turned around a little bit quicker, and maybe it makes sense that he's adjusting from the speed of the Jets offense to the Chiefs offense. One thing I did notice from Bell, it didn't seem like he had much going. The line was not opening a lot of holes, but when he was in pass plays, as soon as he got out of the pocket, his head is like turned right around. So he's at least got that.
I thought, like Sam McDowell, I thought he could make something of that pass out on the left, sort of the left flat, and then it just got closed down fast. I didn't see any real great agility or burst, as Sam put it.
Jordan Tribe noticed Dirty Dan stepping up again. Absolutely. What is it? He's big plays here each of the last couple of games for Dan Sorensen, the safety, and had the big hit on that Jets tight end whose name I didn't recognize. I had to look him up. Chris Herndon jarred the ball loose, and Bashard Breeland was there to scoop up the fumble. So just after a week after his pick 6 at Denver. So Tyrann Mathieu had a lot of nice things to say about Dan Sorensen after the game. Larry Looper noticed Herbie, the NASCAR view, kind of the in-car camera, very NASCAR-like. I thought it was an interesting post game for such a lopsided game. I thought the players that we heard from in the post game and Andy Reid had some interesting things to say. Maybe the questions were just better this week. We had time to think about it. But Tyrann Mathieu talking about the motivation, the inspiration. I love this from Mahomes. We have a team that can get what we want to get. I thought that was a pretty interesting quote. That they weren't sure before they won the Super Bowl, but now that they've won the Super Bowl, they're a team that they know that they can get what they want to get.
He is talking specifically about the Super Bowl. That's he's being direct. That's not a subtle thing that he's trying to get away with. That's and I wonder if that's like, I guess it can go one of two ways, right? Like, just to play armchair psychologist, you either win and then screw it, I'm gonna just not study, not put in the same work, or you win and you almost there becomes like a fear of failure, like a collective. And I always go back, I know it's kind of, maybe it's tired, but George Brett says that every time he went on the field, he was petrified that he would embarrass himself and his family. And I think like there can be like a productive fear of failure. And I just wonder if those guys, they think like, we're not going to be together forever, and all these seasons you have to, you have to take full advantage of. And if I can use an analogy from another, like a third sport now, the LeBron James, like that finals against the Heat or against the Mavericks when he was with the Heat, people still bring that up, and I think that he realizes that, and how different his legacy, his career would be looked at right now if he had 5 rings instead of 4. I mean, those things, you just don't get a lot of opportunities, and it could go one of two ways. And it sure looks like this group is dead set focused on taking advantage of this one.
Yeah, I thought today proved that. I thought, and Sam, I think this was a response, Andy Reid's response to one of your questions about I've been through too many of these where you pull off the accelerator and something bad happens. And I'm thinking we've seen that really from the Chiefs, getting a 2-touchdown lead or a 17-point lead in the second half and stop attacking. But with the quarterback they have now, there is just no reason to stop attacking until it's time to get Chad Henne in the game.
That's right. But then, I mean, this is the first game that Henne's played in all season where he hasn't scored a touchdown. So, but I think that pedal the.
Well,
the
once Chad Henne came in the game, Greg Williams was like, "We better slow down the passing game here, guys."
That quote from Reed that you're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Vahe, but I think that was was that something that you asked about the fake punt, right? And sort of your very like non-insulting way of saying this is a game people thought that you could have won maybe without the fake punt.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Why would you possibly use that, Andy?
Yeah.
That's what I asked.
Yeah, they did that and the underhanded pass, right? I think that fake punt is pretty basic. I think that's pretty. If you see the cover guy on one side turn and not look, you can run that, and that's kind of a basic fundamental of special teams. But the underhanded, middle screen like Anthony Sherman-esque play to Travis Kelce is like not exactly like base offense. I was a little bit surprised they did that.
The fake punt can potentially kind of help you out for the rest of the season too, because if guys are cheating on you downfield all season long, and now all of a sudden you've got to play. I mean, they've got to. Your sprinters are going to have a little bit of an advantage for the next few weeks, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Frederick Lewis asked.
That might not see it. Remember, he said the throw will be better the next time. The next time. What? So when's the next time we're going to see this play again?
Hey, and the play has a name, or the touchdown to Kelce has a name. We found out. Stampede Right was the touchdown pass from Mahomes to Kelce, the underhanded toss. Frederick Lewis, how about Butker's PAT streak today? He didn't miss one. He looked good. And I think Sam McDowell, because you've noticed this last week, didn't he go from both hash marks today?
Yeah, they said that they just want to try and mimic field goals because he's only missed one field goal. And he mentioned last week that only, it's so rare to kick a field goal from in the middle of the field because, usually the play winds up outside the hashes one way or the other. So they're just trying to mimic field goals. And to me, that shows it's a concentration issue. Bucker though did for the great day he had kicking extra points, he still kicked a kickoff out of bounds. It's like he can't just have that just like flawless day right now. It almost does seem like it's got to be something psychological because we all know the talent is there with him.
Yeah, it's like yips, right? Like a baseball player.
Yeah.
Here I go with different sports again, but yeah, that's what it seems like. But that's funny. We're going to try and mimic field. Like you got the field, and they're just going to scoot back. Like take a false.
I remember. Let's just put all the sports in here. I remember Nick Van Exel's taking 2 steps back and all of his free throws.
Yeah.
For some reason, why that was a good idea, I could never figure out. And now with what Bucker's going through, it's like just make it a 50-yarder. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Anybody have a good ice hockey analogy? No, but Travis Ice says Wharton had another really good game. Exciting to see this rookie class perform at such a high level. I agree with that. I think this rookie class has played very well so far this year. I mean, up and down for a couple of these guys. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still we'll see after today, but went into today as the top rookie rusher in the NFL. Has had a couple of monster games, and L'Jarius Sneed when he was playing was terrific, and Willie Gay good last week. I didn't notice much of Willie Gay out there today. So.
Wharton had a great day, and man, that guy is strong and fast for his size. I can understand why he went overlooked in the draft because he was playing at Missouri S&T. It just really surprises me that he couldn't get like a major D1 offer though with that kind of size, speed, and strength. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he grew late, or I don't know. But that guy stands out when he's on the field.
Larry Looper says Herbie needs a sponsor and a helmet. From that. I like that. Barbara Hedrick, there it is. Halfway mark. Weaknesses to address going forward. Pursue anybody in a trade. Herbie, what do you think about that? Trade deadline, is it Tuesday?
Yes. No, I don't think you really necessarily need to do anything drastic here. The trade deadline is what it is. It's very rare you see it cause a lot of waves. I don't think the Chiefs need to really do anything drastic. You're going to get Snead back here hopefully soon. He has been out there at practice. I saw him out there during the portion to open the practice. He was not practicing, obviously, but he is out there on the sideline watching, which is usually a good sign that a player is getting pretty close to maybe taking that next step where they are going to evaluate him once he puts the pads back on. So cornerback is set. If anything, and linebacker, you're bringing along Willie Gay. I don't think they really need to make a move.
Okay. Hey, so Brian LaBerge also noticed we need speed back. Charvarius Ward got beat deep again. Worried about him against a team like Pittsburgh. Sam Mellinger not happy about the way Charvarius Ward's been playing lately.
He gave up a big one.
Yes.
Today.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But what are you gonna do?
The play he gave up was sort of like his rookie year. The fact that he was in coverage, he was in the right spot, and just this last split second he lost track of the player, the ball, whatever. And he didn't do that much last year.
It almost looked like when he turned around to try to find the ball that he lost coverage. It wasn't just that he didn't make a play on the ball. It's that he was right on the guy, and then he turned around to look for the ball. And it's almost like turning around to look at the ball created an inch of separation for the receiver. It was a weird play. It was a well thrown ball by Darnold, like right on the sideline. I forgot the receiver. He made a nice catch, but when you're in position like that, you gotta knock the ball down.
Todd Bryan asks is Patrick going to get the Raptors to Kansas City? I would tell him I would recommend Sam Mellinger's column this morning, just as I would recommend Vahe Gregorian's column this morning as well on the Green Bay Packers portion of Andy Reid's career. Those were both terrific columns. So, all right. And I'll recommend Herbie Teope's What We Learned from This Game and Sam McDowell's story on the Chiefs offense and the Patrick Mahomes day. And with all those recommendations, I think we're going to call it a day here. So for Herbie in his car, Sam in their living rooms, and Vahe Gregorian in the office, and Beth Welsh at home doing the producing. It's been great talking to you guys. Appreciate your feedback. And we will do it again on Thursday morning when the Chiefs get ready to play the Carolina Panthers. Take care, you guys.